The aim of the game for every driver in Formula 1 this season has come down to one thing: securing their future beyond the new regulations. Seats at the top of the sport are hard to come by, with the seats at Ferrari and McLaren being signed, sealed and delivered, and Mercedes seemingly are being forced by their own stubbornness into placing a young, ill-prepared and unknown entity beyond the most junior of junior formulas next to Andrea Kimi Antonelli next season. Jokes aside, it's safe to say that if you want to be in with the chance of placing in the top half of the championship, then your only real option is taking a gamble at which team will be battling it out for 4th or 5th fastest, as it seems that Red Bull is set to secure their second seat alongside three-time world champion Max Verstappen. That second Red Bull seat is not only one of the hottest properties on the grid due to their dominant form over the past few years, but also down to the massive unknowns attached to the seat. For example, the Red Bull in-house engine with their partners Ford presents an entirely unknown entity, as well as the potential of Max Verstappen's known disliking of the upcoming regulations, presenting an opportunity to carry the torch for the team in the number 1 seat if Verstappen chooses to pursue other ventures which he deems more exciting. Either way, the seat poses an exciting proposition and one with unique challenges compared to the rest of the grid, and that's probably the reason why Checo Perez has been fighting so hard to retain it. It's been a tough few weeks, but the news coming out of Red Bull suggests that Checo may have done just enough to ward off any potential competition for the seat. Well, for now, anyway. Want to know why Red Bull are indicating that Perez may be due a contract extension? It's been a rough couple of races for Checo, but it seems that the team believes he will bounce back. And stick around, because according to one person closely related to the team, the only thing Checo may well be signing on for is ruins in the coming years. It seemed the last thing that Sergio Perez needed coming off the back of a disappointing Imola and a podiumless Miami was a subpar Monaco. In years gone by, the very moment he took a dip in form, there was immediate pressure both from within the team and the media, some created by himself and his early season claims of a championship charge, and some from high-ranking members of the team like Helmut Marko's questionable comments while talking to the likes of Service or OE24. This year, however, it seems that Red Bull are prepared to take a far more gentle approach to the Mexican driver's woes, with the worst-case scenario that was realized in Monaco being met with a placid and surprisingly measured response from the team. The lap 1 crash involving Checo, Magnussen and Hülkenberg could have been a prime dogpile material for the likes of Helmut Marko. However, he was quick to come to Checo's defense and made the cost on the team a collective issue rather than singling out the driver. This is costing us about 2 or 3 million, and with the budget cap, that is of course a big handicap. It was another crash that Magnussen was involved in. Thank God it ended well, but it was a critical situation. I was surprised though, how quickly the stewards dealt with the matter. These are decisions you can hardly influence, but it was just dangerous. And clearly, this incident wasn't really one that anyone could criticize Checo for, especially given Magnussen's current track record. Those involved with the channel already have to put up with my rants about him enough. However, both Marko and Horner being so resolute in their support of Checo even before the Monaco Grand Prix is quite a change of cadence in comparison to seasons gone by. Christian Horner was pretty sympathetic towards Checo for his weekend in Monaco, as I think everyone was, and the team principal sees returning Checo to his early season form as a top priority, something that will be of massive importance to the team if they are to continue their current reign at the top of the Constructors' Championship, with Ferrari now being a mere 24 points away. This is what Horner had to say following the Monaco Grand Prix in regards to Checo. This weekend's been pretty brutal for him. Obviously, we need to make sure that we have got both cars up there scoring points, because we cannot dismiss the threat of Ferrari and McLaren in both championships. Checo's first 6 races, he was very strong, qualifying in the front row and finishing 2nd and 3rd and scoring very well. We just need to get back into that position of confidence and not see a dip. Horner even went as far as to suggest that the team should take responsibility for the Mexican driver's current downturn in form, while also indicating that the decision of Checo's position in the team will be made by the summer break. When asked if Checo's recent performances left a mark against his contract hopes, Horner said, "Not really, I think it's more our timing. We will make a decision in the fullness of time. I think by Barcelona we should have a clear picture. I would say we should have a clear idea ourselves by then." If we were to be cynical about this, we'd propose that perhaps the change of tone from Red Bull could be due to the other insecurities currently present at the team: an engine program that's a complete unknown entity, the early season PR horror show that was the Horn Dog saga, and the fact that Max has made it clear that he won't stick around in a sport he no longer enjoys, which is currently a risk posed by the new regulations. All of this seems to be piling up, and the last thing the team would want to do is further jeopardize their driver balance by bringing in someone who is more of a threat to Verstappen into the equation, or lose a driver that is happy to play a more passive role in the team and bide his time to take race wins as they come. Checo is desperate to maintain his current seat because it gives him the best opportunity to continue a career that has almost been denied to him twice. And Red Bull could do with someone so staunchly loyal, as he has been throughout the Horner scandal, and he has never showed signs of turning his back on the team that is currently at its most precarious position internally in years. Yes, there may be other drivers out there who could stick it on the top step or the podium at least alongside Verstappen at every opportunity, but just what else would such a poisoned chalice proposition provide? It seems for Red Bull that they may not be willing to wait and find out. Someone who also seems to be seeing Red Bull's current predicament as a marker for more long-standing issues is the doom-saying Jos Verstappen, who may yet still be proved correct in his proposal of Red Bull's implosion. Following Red Bull's surprising lack of performance at a circuit they have historically been strong at, Jos made it clear that he sees this as a harbinger of long-term issues for the team. The era where Red Bull had the dominant car really seems to be over now. Maybe they should start focusing a bit more on racing and mutual communication again, rather than on other things. There will definitely be races where Red Bull will be in good shape again, but I am very curious to see how they are going to solve this. Something really needs to happen there. Red Bull needs to find out where this problem is coming from, because it is clear that the teams like Ferrari and McLaren are getting closer. Max has been able to mask that somewhat, but the big difference with Sergio Perez is becoming more and more obvious. And therein lies the problem for Red Bull. The gap is being closed more and more across multiple circuit types, and while the likes of Singapore and Monaco seem to be displaying a particularly difficult challenge for Red Bull, it doesn't look like they're all that comfortable anywhere anymore. Still, they're yet to bring any major upgrades to the circuit, something which may well leave their competition in the dust yet again, so we're not going to do anything ludicrous like declaring Red Bull dead and buried. However, it was stated fairly often last year that more and more focus will be put on the new regulations, perhaps rendering Red Bull in this vulnerable state for far longer than they would be if not for the looming regulation shift. Last week we mentioned that Checo's request for a contract lasting more than just a year was rebuffed by Red Bull, who clearly aren't convinced about his long-term capabilities with the Milton Keynes team. However, nothing long-term seems to be sure when it comes to Red Bull at the moment. Checo's staunch loyalty may well be tested just as much as Red Bull in the coming couple of years, as if he is looking for a long-term place at Red Bull, then he won't be granted it, which given his history of being burnt by teams can't be too comfortable of an experience. Hopefully Checo can turn his form around, but even if he does, in a car that is struggling to keep up in Verstappen's hands, could we start to see Checo outside the top 5 more and more often? So what do you think? Could Checo's struggles just be a symptom of a car that's just not performing, and perhaps they do need to bring in someone a bit more potent into that second seat? We think that if he is able to return to his early season form, then that seat will be his at least for next year. But then again, maybe he's looking for something a bit more long term, and it could be him that ends up burning Red Bull. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching.